Hopefully you can see my screen here. I just opened up my web browser. So as mentioned before, our software is web-based. This is one of the criteria that we determined was important in order to enable collaboration. So this means the software needs to be installed centrally in one location, and then whoever you give access to the software, they can just access it through their web browser. So potentially you can access the software from anywhere in the world. You don't need to have anything particular other than the web browser installed on your laptop or your desktop, or for that matter, your smartphone. Typically, access is via a login page, although we do support other forms of entering the database securely. So I'm just going to log into the system here. And the login credentials determine what functionality you can access and also what data you can access. Without going into too much detail at this stage, it is very easy to segment the database, segment the data, the functionality to different users. So I've logged into a user with a lot of the icons you may have seen on the last slide. These are just sort of, I guess, a pseudo-periodic table of functionality, the different components of the software. And it's very flexible design of the application. So we have customers that use just maybe a few of these modules, or others, such as Roland and his team at AstraZeneca, who use pretty much all of it. So I'm going to take you through a few of these modules and this functionality right now, and we'll have a look at how it's used in real life. So we're starting in Browser. Browser is, if you like, the cornerstone of the product. It's where we organize the data, and we can divide the data into what we call projects. And a project in Browser is just a collection of things on your database. So these could be a collection of experiments, it could be a collection of compounds, it could be a collection of antibodies, it could be a collection of customers. It doesn't really matter. They're just collections of things that you have stored in the database. And it could be things that you've got stored in the Dotmatics database, or it could be that we've connected to one of your existing databases if these exist. And we can then look and organize that data too. So by way of example, let's go into one of these projects. You can see this user has access to 4 projects here. And I'm going to go into this ChemELN project. And as the name suggests, it's a project, a collection of experiments from my chemistry lab notebook. And we're presented with a form and lots of empty boxes. These boxes are all tied to areas of the database, and we can enter information into any of these boxes in order to search the database. So I'm just going to search for, let's just search for some compounds, some reactions in my database. I'm just going to fill in a few criteria here. So I'm going to sketch something in, and maybe I'm also going to just find my best reactions, so ones with a decent chemical yield. And we'll go away, and this has retrieved 19 records. So in this case, each record is an experiment in my lab notebook. And you can see the same interface is now used to display the data. And we've got information about the reagents and the products and the write-up, the conditions and everything here. And you can see the substructure that I drew has been highlighted here. I can scroll through these records, or I can scan through them in a grid, for example. And maybe I'm going to select one of these. And how about to select one of these and I use it as a basis for a new experiment? And we can take a look at the ELN itself. So let's like the look of this one, 90% yield. That looks good to me. Now here, if you notice, I'm logged in as a particular user. This experiment belongs to one of my colleagues. It's not one of my experiments. It's a way of making what we're demonstrating here an incredibly easy way to find out what your colleagues have done